What's up, guys? Some gamer chick here, and I'm back with another Monday reading vlog. Um, I finished the audiobook for this, and holy shit, this is a fantastic book. I fucking loved it. It was dark. It was gritty. The main character Gabriel at the very end, he made the vampire recording his story, or scribing his story. He made him scream. It was awesome. And then when you find out exactly what happened to his family, you're crying with him. It was great. 10 out of 10. Definitely recommend this one. It's Empire of the Vampire by Jay Kristoff. It was good. And I'm excited to be listening to the second book while I'm at work. I have it on audiobook. I will be listening to it at work today. It's great. It is great. We are doing great with this series so far. It is fucking phenomenal. But I also finished the next two books in this series. So if you remember, I did go over this one. I really did enjoy this book. I thought it was a really fun story. The next two books in the series, Song of the Abyss and Echoes of the Tide, they were really good too. I enjoyed them. I like the fact that the whole plot is kind of an overarching plot between the four books. There's four of them. I haven't read the fourth one yet. I'm actually waiting for it to be available in paperback before I get it and read it, because I want the entire series. I do enjoy this book. That being said, there is a glaring issue that I noticed with these. And I hate sensitivity readers. I fucking hate them. They ruin amazing character moments. They really do. They ruin amazing character moments. So Song of the Abyss follows Daius and Anya. Daius is Argis's brother. He lost his arm in the first book when he led an attack on Beta City, and he lost his arm. And it's something that is brought up in the book. Mostly he has hallucinations of all of the people that died in that battle. And he feels really guilty about what happened, as one normally would. And then there's also mentions of, if you know anybody who has lost a limb, or if you've heard about it, sometimes like when you lose a limb, you still feel those phantom tingles of the limb still being there, but it's not. It's just kind of, it's your brain trying to make sense of the fact that normally there would be signals from here, but there's no signals. So it's kind of making them up in your head. And there's some alluding to that. Why are you being annoying, little pest? But so you have a great storyline of someone who regrets a mistake that he made in the past. He's a warrior. He's lost his arm. But it was never really fleshed out in the way that you would expect it to be fleshed out. You don't really have scenes of him reaching with that arm and then kind of having a little panic attack, remembering what happened, all of that kind of stuff. There's a lot of points where he's kind of tilting away, so it's a little bit less visible to Anya, because he doesn't want her to see him as broken, which perfectly fine. That is perfectly fine. But there is a point at the end where he's, honestly, the whole hallucination thing, it really doesn't get resolved in a satisfying way. Basically, it's resolved because he falls in love with the girl. Okay, fine, whatever. I'll forgive it. There's a lot of good in this book that kind of outweighs the bad. But this one bad mark that I'm about to explain, and it is why I absolutely hate sensitivity readers, and I'm going to push my cat more over here because he's starting to get a little annoying. It's it gives the wrong impression about what it's like for a warrior to lose a limb. If you kind of figuring out where I'm going. So Mira, the main female from the first book, and the mate of Dios's brother Argus, she's an engineer. She likes to build things. And Dios tried to kill her multiple times in the first book. Multiple times. She builds him an arm. And it's a fantasy book, so the arm's got like little wires that go in, connect to his nerves, so it's like a fully functional arm. He's got full functionality of his arm. He can grab a thing, pick it up, and put it over here. He's just got to like work with it and figure out like its strengths and stuff. Well, Anya is deaf. She's got like a little robot that goes on her head, and it's got a screen, and that's how she hears people, right? It basically transcribes everything for her. It lets her know like, hey, someone's walking up behind you, that kind of stuff. And it's a droid with an artificial intelligence, so it's got its own little personality. It's her friend. So she's got basically a cheat sheet to hear. And one of the things that she loves about Dios is when he speaks, it's on a decibel level that she can hear. So when someone like a human talks, the decibel levels that we speak at, she can't hear. But when an Undine talks, she can hear that decibel level. So it's like, so she's deaf, but there's kind of like stages to it, I guess. And that's one of the reasons why she really likes Dios, is because she can hear him. So Mira builds him an arm. And when she gives him the arm, it's done in Anya's perspective. Perfectly fine. Personally, if I was writing the scene, I would have done it through Dios's perspective, because right now you have the perfect setup for two characters who hate each other, extremely dislike each other to hate each other. Kind of having you have it set up to where they can have a moment where even if they don't love each other or like each other, at the end of that moment they can come to a better understanding, and they're closer to that. Like they're not in the I hate you sector, they're closer to the your family sector, right? So she gives him the arm. And in this scene, I absolutely hate Anya. I fucking hate sensitivity readers, because this is how the scene plays out. And so instead of getting Dios and Mira coming to an understanding, Dios kind of becoming more healed from his original failure, and Mira essentially going like, yeah, I know you tried to kill me multiple times, but I forgive you. You are, well, my husband's brother. Like, we need to get along, because like my husband, he still loves you. We need to figure this shit out. We need to get at a more companionable thing. So instead of getting a moment like that, we get... I wasn't going to show you for a bit because it's still very much a prototype. Mira frowned down at the arm. There's a lot it can't do. Please don't use this arm on anything that can be bruised, broken, or killed. The tension on it is really touchy. What is that? Dios hissed. It's an arm, Mira grumbled, walking around them while tilting her head down. Bitsy put a little warning that said murmuring before she read. Pretty fucking obvious, I thought. I like Bitsy. Bitsy is a fun little droid. I like her. Neither Anya nor Dios said anything as Mira stepped up next to him. They watched as she lifted the hole in the fake arm up to his half arm, and something felt wrong inside of her. Remember, this is Anya's perspective. Anya didn't know how to feel about him getting fixed when she'd never thought of him as broken. He lacked an arm, yes, but that didn't make him less of a person. He had figured out how to live without one, and now it felt a little cruel to hand him something like this. Even if he had wanted it, she wasn't sure how to feel. If someone had offered her a tool to get her hearing back after all these years, Bitsy, she wasn't even sure that she would take it. There were risks to using any tool, and she was fine the way she was. Sure, she had Bitsy to translate for her, but that wasn't the same thing as something to fix what made her better. What had made her better. Editing gremlin here. This is taken directly from the book. But then he opened his mouth and he spoke. Bitsy sent red warning exclamation marks dancing all over the lens, but Anya didn't read a single one. She barely even noticed the exclamation points because, as he backed up, those words echoed through her head. She could hear him. Holy shit, she could hear him. Reeling from the sound of his deep, echoing voice that was so gravelly it sounded like the burble of water passing by the glass, she blinked as he moved away from her. He sank a little deeper into the water, his eyes on her a little too sharp, but she could fucking hear him. Not a mess of overlapping sound or the knowledge that someone was speaking, but not having the faintest idea of what they were saying. His voice was so deep she could only compare it to the sound of water underneath ice, a boom of sound that she'd so rarely heard since her accident, loud, echoing, and so incredibly deep. It was stupid, it was risky, it was taking her own life into her hands and thrusting it at this monster who had just showed up in her pool one day. But she suddenly launched herself into the pool. Anya wasn't even sure what was going through her head other than the thought that she had heard him speak, that she could hear the tones of his voice, and it had been such a long time since she'd heard the clipped movement of words. They'd been muffled for so long she had resigned herself to never being able to understand what someone was saying. So her mind just sort of fractured. She'd met with the doctors, she'd met with other people like her, but so few of them were injured after they had 14 years of hearing. Most of the people she knew were born deaf. She wasn't born like this, and she wasn't entirely deaf. She existed in a world between two peoples, and, oh, she had missed hearing someone talk. The water struck her a little too hard. Maybe she'd belly flopped, but then suddenly there was a massive hand around her waist again, the same way he had pushed her up and out of the water the last time. Webbed fingers held onto her suddenly clinging clothing, the claws scraping against the lace of her shawl. And none of it mattered. She braced herself against his chest, her hands on either sides of those blocky pectoral muscles, where she could feel two hearts beating, just slightly out of rhythm with the other. He stared down at her with wide eyes. Maybe she'd shocked him. She had no idea. All she could focus on right now was the feeling of that massive hand spanning her waist, his fingers just slightly moving against her back, and it was nice, not as scary as she had thought it would be, at least. Licking her lips, she told herself not to do it again, and she noticed his gaze followed that movement. I can hear you speak, she whispered. Just do it again, please. He frowned down at her. Maybe that should have been intimidating, but the gills around his neck flared suddenly, and all she could think was that they were pretty. Say something, she whispered, her words a little close to begging. Please. He said one word, the guttural tones breaking through the injuries in her ears, and she could hear what he had to say. It was loud, probably louder than was safe for her to be around. He might even be injuring her further, but oh, the sound of a word. More than one, Anya's eyes fluttered shut, luxuriating in this moment. He said 2 words. She peeled one of her eyes open, frowning at him in disapproval this time. The Undine was toying with her. He was responding to every single word she said like he understood what she was saying. Anya froze, and suddenly all of this came into very clear focus. She was in the middle of her pool with her arms hooked over his neck, her legs dangling in the water from where he held her up. But that massive and muscular tail brushed between her legs every time he flexed his muscles to keep them upright. His arm was around her waist, his massive hand wrapped around her back, but his fingers were eerily close to her breast. As she was close enough to his mouth to kiss him, and the Undine understood what she was saying. That's all I have to say. Better. Years and years of practice had turned her into a different person. Her lack of hearing was part of her, just as much as her eye color or what food she liked. She wouldn't want someone to come in and save her. But the way his eyes lit up as he slid his arm into the armhole, and how he held it still for Mira to affix a sling around his neck to hold the metal a little tighter against his skin, it made something in her chest squeeze really hard, because that wasn't the expression of a man who agreed with her. That was the expression of a man who was remembering what it felt like to be whole. And suddenly she was alone again. Years and years of practice and not feeling like she was the only person on the planet who had suffered, and now she watched someone else get fixed. A moment between Daios and Mira, which Daios is a warrior. He lived his life with his arm. It was part of him, and he only just recently lost it. In my head, when I was reading it the first time, it made me hate Anya, because if she was thinking that about him, who finally is getting back that feeling of normalcy, back after losing his arm. Like, yeah, he's proven he is strong, he is capable even without the arm, but at the same time, there's still something missing. Like, I mean, you lose an arm and you go to reach with it, it's gonna hit you every time that happens. Think of soldiers who fought in Iraq and Afghanistan during the Iraqi war, or the war on terror. Ones that like lost their legs, or take a track runner who had an accident where he lost his legs. Being angry at him for feeling joy at getting some sense of normalcy back, and saying that he shouldn't accept it because, well, you're not broken, you're perfect the way you are. That kind of mentality. It's kind of disgusting. It really is, because I would not go up to someone who had lost his legs, who had loved running before he lost his legs, and tell him he's a bad person when he gets new prosthetics that allow him to run again. I would never tell him he was a terrible person for wanting that. And anybody who does go up to someone and tells them that, I'm going to say it, you're a terrible fucking person. And that is why I hate sensitivity readers, because they were looking at that like, no, you have to make her feel alone when he gets the arm. Instead of getting this moment between Daios and Mira where maybe they're not friends yet, but they're closer, and Mira is forgiving him for trying to kill her numerous times by giving him a gift, and you change it to Anya making it all about her fucking self. It is disgusting. It is fucking wrong. Like, in my own book series, Dhampir Sins, spoiler alert right here. I'll leave a timestamp to where you can go and miss this, but I am planning that the shadow magic and the Furian finding magic, like all of Kieran's Furian magic, he's going to lose it at some point. He is going to lose it. It's going to hit him hard. And that's like him losing a limb. That is something that has been with him since, for as long as he can remember. He's always had his Furian magic. And when he loses it, it's going to hit him hard. And if he were in a situation where losing that magic caused him to not be able to find someone in time to save their life, it would destroy him inside. Because not only has he lost a part of himself that has been a part of himself for as long as he can remember, losing that part made him fail in something. If you've been reading the stories, you know that he gets offered a job with the police in the first book, and he takes it. So for the rest of the books, he's essentially a police officer. He's using his finding magic to find people. In the very first book, he uses it to find 13 missing Dhampirs. In the second book, he uses it to find a missing child. Like, it's just like a little subplot, but they're like, hey, we've got a missing child in the shopping district. We know Kieran's a Furian. Can you bring him over here so we can find this kid real quick? It's really busy right now. We need to find this kid quick. So they just send him. He finds the kid. It works all out. In the third book, he uses it to find the sister of 3 were-cheetahs. In the fourth book, him and all of the other Furians feel neutered because they can't use their magic through the demonic miasma, and they have to look at security footage in order to find the bad guys. So that magic is a huge part of him. In the fifth book, it's a huge part of that, and you start seeing him start to lose it. In the sixth book that I'm working on, he uses it. It is something that he uses very consistently. So when he loses it, it hits him hard. Just like Daios losing his arm would have hit him hard, and Daios getting a prosthetic to replace what he lost. It's not him being fixed. It's him finding new ways to get back what he lost. Just like Bitsy allows Anya to get back what she lost, that prosthetic arm helps him get back what he lost. If you're kind of following what I'm going by. Other than that, this book is really good. I do really enjoy this book, but it's just that one part where Anya makes him getting the new arm more about herself and her feelings versus him and his feelings. Makes sense? And that's one reason why I just absolutely hate fucking sensitivity readers, because something that could have been so narratively and character driven, like a character driven narrative that could have been so powerful between Daios and Mira in a non-romantic fashion, it was thrown to the wayside because we don't want disabled people to feel like they need to be fixed. It's not about fixing a disabled person. It's about helping them get some sense of normalcy back after they've lost something. So that is about the only part of this that I really fucking hated, is just that. And it really turned me off to Anya. in that kind of the way that like Mayumi constantly pushing at people in the Duskwalker Brides books like turned me off on her. But that also brings me into the third book, Echoes of the Tide. This one wasn't as egregious. There was really only one part in this book that I didn't like, and I'm fairly certain had something to do with sensitivity readers, because even this one mentioned sensitivity readers in the very beginning. I don't know. Maybe. I don't know. All I know is it's this part. The massive female rose from the depths, her chest bound in tight fibers. Her hair was twisted back from her features in tight coils that drew her skin into a tight frown. Brother is more accurate, the female said, and Makedes corrected himself. Tusol, he paused in their swim, tucking Ace a little tighter to his side and giving him a nod. It is an honor. Such people were honored among his kind. To have two sides of the same shell was both a blessing and a curse. Both male and female, they were quite literally special. He'd heard that the Akromo had similar creatures, but the two-souled people of his kind were capable of self-reproduction. The creature before him was, in fact, both male and female, though this one wished to be seen as the masculine version of who he was. This character never comes back. Like, this was shoved into this for the simple reason to go, my book's inclusive. That is the entire fucking reason it was put into this book. There is no other fucking reason. The character never comes back. He basically sends the character to go find Ace's, because it's Ace and Makedes, go find her sister and bring her to safety because she's in danger. Fortis, the depth strider, Undine dude, who is the main male character in the fourth book, which I haven't read yet, he sends other people to go do it. So it doesn't even turn into that character is the one taking care of her sister. It's Fortis's son that's taking care of her kid. Like, that entire final paragraph that I read could be taken out of this book, and this book would lose nothing. Like, the entire character itself could be taken out of this book, and this book would lose nothing. It added nothing to the world. It really didn't even add anything to the world building. It was an exposition dump of something that was just only put in for the sake of inclusion points. It was virtue signaling. It was annoying. And it just hits a wrong chord. It's not like my character Kage. Kage is a hermaphrodite. He is so the way that I structured the sex Nephilim in my world building is, well, everybody else has two genders. They're the only one with 4, and that is because they have 2 variants of hermaphrodism. And because hermaphrodites are common enough among their species that they have 2 separate different forms. They can classify them in 2 different ways. So it's still a binary, but they've got the 4 genders. You've got regular male, regular female, and then you have afromale and hermafemale. Afromale, they appear more male than female. And then hermafemale, they appear more female than male, but they are both. And that aspect of Kage, it's mentioned a couple times just to kind of remind the reader that, hey, he is a hermaphrodite. And later in the series, that is going to play a huge role in his role in the overall story. So me having it, it's not about inclusion. Like, honestly, if I ever see a review that goes, Kage is such a terrible representation of trans people, I'm just gonna be like, he's not a representation of trans people. He's just him. But there's a point and a reason for why he's in the book and why I wrote him the way that he is. The character that is described in this part for the inclusion, there's no real reason for them to even be in the book. Now, if it was a character that maybe just kind of like gets their own book later and they had more than just that, it's 4 pages out of fucking 425 pages that you even interact with this character, and you never see them again. They're mentioned once when Fortis is just like, well, you sent one of my hunters to go do something. Like, that's the only next thing. Like, you could take the entire character out and just have it to where, like, Fortis approached him and he was just like, hey, her sister is in danger. Can you send people to go find her? Like, you seem really interested in everything that's happening. Why don't you go do that? I know it's weird, but like the character had brought nothing really to the story at all. Especially since it's Fortis' son that ultimately does the saving of the sister. The character had no point other than to be the token hermaphrodite. It was... But other than that, the book was good. It definitely hit better than this one. This one, once it went into the whole... She hates the arm, and that became a thing where he doesn't even use the arm very often because of her feelings about it. I really don't like Anya. But Mira, I like her. She's adorable. She's funny. Makedes is really funny. It was fun. There were some character developments for Makedes that didn't hit quite right. Like there was a world building thing where like yellow undines can't have kids or something like that. Like they're meant to be the last of their line. And he, at one point, he talks about how he's got a little bit extra of the bloodlust, just like his dad and his dad's before him. And that really never went anywhere. So it was just kind of, but other than that, like, I like the character banner between them. The character banner between these two is okay. I just still think Anya is a selfish little bitch. And then definitely still really good one, but this one I would maybe give a 3 out of 5. This one definitely a 4 out of 5. But that's just kind of my thoughts on those. I also read this, The New Recruit number 3. I really do enjoy this trilogy, and it is a trilogy. If you like boys love smut, it's a good one. I really do like it. I have the entire trilogy. It's really good. Apparently it's also a they made it into a drama show or something like that. Another one that I read, this was more of just a reread, because I am still very excited for the 6th and final book to come out this September, and the way that this one ended was pretty fucking awesome. So if you're looking for some good boys love, The New Recruit and Dangerous Convenience Store are both really good. I really enjoyed them. If you like that kind of stuff, I really did enjoy these. I did go ahead and get another book by Emma Hamm, the one who did these. I did go ahead and get The Demon Court. I started reading it. It's not hooking me as well as these ones. I'm also trying to get a little bit more through this, but I don't know. I will keep you guys informed. If you haven't already, definitely go check out my books. I'll leave a link for those in the description below. Starting July 1st. So, next week, 8 more days. This will be free for everybody on Kindle. And then after that, so on the 4th, so the 1st to the 5th, Dhampir Sins will be free on Kindle for everybody. Right now, if you have Kindle Unlimited, all my books are free. But on the 4th, The Raven's Ire comes out. I am really excited for you guys to see this one. This is definitely one of my best ones so far. And on the 4th, I will be releasing a video announcing the next book in the series. Because I've already finished writing it. I just gotta a few minor tweaks, get it set up for KDP, and then that one will be good to go, and you guys will have it. I will let you know the release date for that one, the title of that one, everything on the 4th after this gets released. That one, definitely shorter than this one. Like, it's more Dhampir Sins size. But it is definitely one of my best for sure. Like, better than this one. The first 4 books, you can tell I'm toying around with themes. The 4th book, or the 5th book, and the 6th book so far, I've actually, like, fully started incorporating themes into my storytelling. Like, full on theme throughout the story. Like, I'm very proud of myself for figuring that out now. But yes, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you've made it this far, please like, comment, and subscribe. I definitely check out my books on Amazon, and I appreciate you guys so much. This has been Some Gamer Chick, signing off.